against Orange County, California, for refusing to hand over records showing non-citizens are registered to vote and received ballots in federal elections. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, recently received a complaint from the family member of a non-citizen in Orange County, indicating that the non-citizen received unsolicited mail-in ballot from the defendant, Robert Page. An election lawsuit brewing in California. They just got hit with a new filing brought by Harmeet Dillon, Trump's appointee over in the civil division of the Department of Justice. And she posted this saying, you know what? No more non-citizens voting in elections, federal elections, not just in sanctuary hellhole California, saying allowing non-citizens to vote in elections is a violation of the American people's rights to determine their future. California is learning the hard way that the DOJ will always fight for American citizens to vote fairly and freely without illegal aliens participating. This was also submitted by the U.S. Attorney out there. He said, Bill Esseley says, this morning, Dylan and I in my office filed a lawsuit against Orange County, California, for refusing to hand over records showing non-citizens are registered to vote and received ballots in federal elections. Oh, you're kidding! The Help America Vote Act is a federal law, and California must comply. And now you're being sued. And so it's going to go up to a California judge who's going to say, no, privacy violation, no standing, no federalism, no 10th Amendment, whatever, bunch of garbage. And so this battle has to happen because this is happening all across the country. And they told us there's no fraud. Oh yeah, there's plenty of fraud. There's no widespread fraud. Yeah, there's a ton of widespread fraud. There's no widespread fraud that would change the outcome of the election. Yeah, there is. Oh, well, you're just insurrectionists now. Okay, got it. So thank you for that. Bill Esseley suing, DOJ posted this, announced we're suing Orange County, California for records pertaining to the removal of non-citizens from its voter registration list and for failing to maintain an accurate voter list in violation of the Help America Vote Act. I can't even imagine just how bad those voter lists are. Voting by non-citizens is a federal crime, and states and counties that refuse to disclose all this voter information are in violation of well-established federal election laws, said Harmeet. And so the lawsuit came down. Gavin Newsom hit again. Here's what it looks like. From Harmeet Dillon, the assistant AG over from Trump's Department of Justice, she submits the following to the Central District of California in a complaint for violations of federal voting laws. HAVA and the NVRA writes to the judge. All right, court. You know, citizens must have complete confidence in the sanctity of their right to vote. Ronald Reagan, June 29th, 1982. Now, indeed, he signed and said that when he was signing the Voting Rights Act amendments back in 1982. He said, indeed, confidence in the integrity of our electoral processes is essential to the functioning of our participatory democracy. Voter fraud drives honest citizens out of the democratic process and breeds distrust of our government. Voters who fear their legitimate votes will be outweighed by fraudulent ones will feel disenfranchised. And I don't think that was Reagan. So that second quote actually came from the U.S. Supreme Court, 2006 case called Purcell versus Gonzalez, talking about the very important requirements of voting. Okay, if it's fraudulent, it wrecks the whole process. We cannot have it happen. Now, Orange County in California has undermined that confidence. They refuse to provide transparency. We ask them for their voter information. They're not telling us who's on the list. That's a violation of federal law. And two, they're also concealing the unlawful registration of ineligible non-citizen voters. Keeping voter registration rolls accurate and current ensures efficient and secure elections and promotes democratic engagement. Accurate voter lists are necessary to ensure the right people are voting. Now, to this end, the United States Attorney General and Harmeet Dillon sue Orange County, California for violating federal law. Here's what happened. Back on October 29, 2002, President Bush, remember him? He signed into law the HAVA Act, Help America Vote Act. Now, HAVA is codified in 52 U.S. Code, these sections. HAVA provides that the states create a centralized computer voter registration database. Your state should have one that verifies registration information, conducts a certain list maintenance function, and also interacts with local election voter registration databases. So get your databases figured out, states. So Section 303 also requires that state election officials ensure that the computerized list of voters are actually accurate and they're current. You should remove the names of voters who are not registered to vote or who are ineligible to vote. You also must remove duplicate names. Then Clinton came in, before that, 1993 actually, Clinton signed into law the NVRA. They set forth certain voter registration requirements with respect to elections for federal office, including voter registration opportunities at state DMVs, and that they implement procedures to maintain accurate and current voter registration lists. Got to keep them current. Now, United States citizenship is a qualification to vote. U.S. citizenship is a qualification to register in California under the laws. And to comply with this, they must make sure that the list does not have people who are not eligible to vote. Now, this defendant called Page, the person who's being sued here, Robert Page, sued by the United States, he's the registrar of voters. So he's the database guy, the keymaster over there. And they want data from him. They say that he is required by law to register all qualified persons and perform the duties that are required of him under the law. Part of that duty is to evaluate citizenship. And Page must reject voter registrations and cancel any record if they don't meet those requirements. But here's the problem. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, recently received a complaint from the family member of a non-citizen in Orange County, indicating that the non-citizen received unsolicited mail-in ballot from the defendant, Robert Page, despite lack of citizenship. Shout out to this person. Family member of a non-citizen calls in and says, why are they sending my non-citizen, illegal person, maybe illegal, maybe not, a ballot? They don't get to vote. On June 2nd, the Attorney General, Pam, requested the following documents from the defendant, Robert Page. Said, Mr. Registrar, can you please give us records from January 1 to the present showing the number of voter registration records in Orange County canceled because they did not satisfy citizenship requirements? How many people did you check and cancel? Is it any? Like, oh crap, did we do that? Go back and check. I'm sure they didn't. Records from January 1st to the present related to the cancellation request described in number 1, including copies of a bunch of records. We asked for it. They responded. On June 16th, not long ago, they sent a letter back. He provided data, but he redacted the following information about non-citizens. He redacted the California's driver's license, which they give them, ID card numbers, social security numbers given to aliens, California Secretary of State assigned voter ID numbers, all redacted, language preference, spoiler alert, Spanish, images of registrants' signatures, all redacted. So then on June 17th, Pam Bondi says, what the heck is this crap? She responded to the registrar, indicating that this data prohibits the Attorney General from making accurate assessments of your compliance with federal law. It's not good enough. And we communicated that your reliance on state law is going to be preempted by federal law. Just so you know, you're required to maintain these records. So you better have them for us when we come looking for them. The only records exempted from this public disclosure policy relate to a declination to register a voter because of the voter registration agency, okay, through which they registered. That's all. You guys got to give us this information from the states. It's federal law. When the state evaluates or investigates whether someone is a citizen, we have the right to get that information. When they cancel a registration records, we have the right to that information. Everything we want are within the law. As a result, Pam Bondi responded to this dude and said, listen, you've got a deadline of June 20th to give us this information. Get rid of those redacted bars or else we're suing you. He didn't give it to her. Now he's getting sued. Plaintiff would file litigation no later than June 24th. On June 23rd, Orange County people called through Assistant County Attorney James Steinman, confirmed by the telephone. Who's calling, please? What's your name? That the defendant would not be providing their requested records. They had some other lowly assistant county attorney. They're like, who is late today? Oh, perfect. James is. Yeah, he's got this phone call to make. He needs to go call Pam Bondi and tell him no. Defendant's refusal to provide this information is a violation of the law. And so now we are suing you. Count 1, violation of HAVA. You have to maintain a record and disclose it to us. You haven't done that. Count 2, violation of NVRA. Got to give us the registration records. Haven't done that, in violation of the law. So what they're asking for here in suing California is a declaration to say that they're not in compliance with the law, order them to give us this unredacted information, say that they're in violation of NVRA and HAVA, and give us this info. Stop them from failing or refusing to comply with these rules moving forward, and any other relief that is appropriate. You see, this was the letter that was sent over to them, and they basically responded to the DOJ saying, get out, we don't even care. So we got that going on. Now, meanwhile, we're asking about our stolen elections, and the Daily Mail just posted this, a little bit of stuff we've already seen, but Cash posted this and shared this yesterday as well. Said Cash was giving this, I guess, to them, or boosting their story. He posted about this on X. Said Cash uncovers proof. Former FBI bosses buried evidence that China interfered in the 2020 election as he vows to take action. And so remember, we've also seen these other stories about the Chinese bringing in tens of thousands of fake IDs through the Michigan, I think, port of entry. Same thing in other locations. I think Cincinnati, we saw 16,000 there, 20,000 came through Michigan. How many came through California? How many were signed up there to go vote? Now that state's going to go blue anyways, but you still understand the problem. Or they go get licenses there and establish essentially rights there and then vote elsewhere. So the point is, we've got Kash Patel now saying that this information has been given to Congress. A current FBI official tells the Daily Mail that the current FBI found the IRR when looking through actions, and we all take election threats seriously. So Kash Patel's digging into it. Right now, we've got Pam Bondi and the DOJ via Harmeet Dillon digging into it. We're looking forward to having election reform. I think it's one of the most important issues. They stole 2020 clearly with a bunch of different engineered operations, and they tried to do it again by ensconcing themselves in a permanent invader class, by removing Trump from the ballot, by prosecuting him, trying to imprison him, and by trying to have his entire livelihood stripped away from him by Tish James and the rest of them. So this is critical towards the restoration of our country. We got to get control of our elections. We're happy that Harmeet is leading the way on it, and we'll see if other states also decide to continue to obstruct the feds. Give them the lists so we can have free and fair elections that are not infiltrated by foreigners.